Hi everyone. Welcome to my channel, Turkish series stars. All the details are in my video. If you like it, I'd love it if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You can support me even more by clicking the join button below. Thank you, and let's watch my video. In the world of Turkish entertainment, where romances tend to be carefully staged and public feelings are measured like precious items behind glass, Navruz's recent confession arrived like a sudden flash of truth, lighting up every corner of social media. The actor, celebrated for his composure and for guarding his personal life with quiet determination, chose to break his habitual silence and speak openly, perhaps for the first time, about the true reason he decided to marry Alina. His words, delivered in a steady voice that carried a deeper, unguarded warmth, mesmerized the audience and unleashed a wave of reactions that still hasn't settled. The moment his statement spread, countless users began debating, quoting, and reimagining each phrase, as if every sentence hid a secret map to understanding love. The most arresting line, the one that made timelines explode, was when Alp shared that after living with Alina, the decision wasn't a decision at all, it was clarity. No whim. No calculated move for publicity. For him, it was the natural ending to a chapter that changed him from the inside out. In a time when many couples faltered under the pressure of lockdown, these two found in that very period what some search for: a lifetime, a sanctuary, an unforced companionship, and a shared sense of joy that, step by step, became the bedrock of their union. During those months when the world outside seemed to be slowly unraveling, Alp and Alina created a small universe of their own at home. According to him, their days filled with rituals that tugged them closer. She'd pull out canvases and he'd mix colors, music floating lightly in the room. They experimented in the kitchen, sometimes with gloriously messy results. They learned the comfort of silence that says more than speeches, and above everything, they laughed. One line of his became instantly iconic online. He called laughter their daily compass, the shared language that kept them steady. Fans who had only known Alp as distant and self-contained were startled by this new tone, a tenderness so sincere it almost felt like a private note slipped into the public square. Many said they had never seen him speak of love from such a grounded, unaffected place. Another moment that dominated the conversation was his reflection on time and appearances. He spoke of the kind of beauty that can fade like summer light, and of the other kind that grows brighter with years, the calm, the sync, the easy harmony that turns a house into a home. Listeners split into two camps when interpreting that thought. Some took it as a quiet critique of the impossible standards the industry often prizes, while others heard it as a brave declaration of the values that sustain a life shared. Either way, Alina's image came out of this story shining in a fresh way. Alp didn't praise her with the polished lines celebrities often deploy. He spoke of a woman who can fill any space with energy, a mind that spins new ideas out of ordinary moments, a quick humor that can dissolve a tense day into a fit of giggles. Her creative streak, paired with a sensitivity that seems almost instinctive, anchored them during the most uncertain times. Living with her, Alp admitted, didn't just transform his private life, it recalibrated how he looks at everything. The echo of his confession roared through the entertainment press, where headlines tried to bottle the feeling of what he had said. None quite nailed it. Because, beyond the pull quotes in bold fonts, there was a deeper choice hiding in his words: to prefer simplicity over spectacle, a house with quiet over a stage with noise, commitment over the drift of momentary thrills. He repeated that he wants to protect his home like a gardener protects a fragile bloom. Patiently, away from flashing lights. Soon the comments on digital platforms multiplied. Longtime supporters began calling him a family man, a description they felt captured his essence better than any role he's played. There were paragraphs upon paragraphs of people celebrating his emotional steadiness. Some fans admitted his confession changed their view of him entirely, while others shared that the story set off private reflections about love, commitment, and what actually matters. Phrases like "this is how someone who truly loves speaks," and "Alp proves real love isn't a performance" rolled through timelines. Choosing Alina shows he values soul over spectacle, wrote another user, and that one was reshared across forums in record time. Amid the flood of approval, some voices leaned in with analysis. According to a few entertainment commentators, this wasn't just a romantic statement. It reflected a broader turn within the industry, a shift toward relationships that feel less airbrushed, less for show, more human. Alp's openness, they argued, signals how hungry audiences are for honesty in a world optimized for algorithms, where everything is engineered to pull attention but rarely to nourish hearts. What makes this story even more riveting is how something so simple, a confession without pyrotechnics, managed to trigger such a sweeping reaction. Part of the answer lies in the image that has trailed Alp Navruz for years, a composed, disciplined, somewhat mysterious man who rarely lets the public peek through the blinds of his private life. So when he cracked the door, even briefly, millions felt they were witnessing something rare. And maybe that exact blend of surprise, sweetness, and sincerity is what turned his admission into a sensation. Here at Turkish Series Stars, where we obsess over the details of your favorite names and the emotional pulse behind their choices, we couldn't ignore what his words did to the audience. So let's turn it to you. What did you feel when you heard that confession? Do you think living together is the mirror that shows love's truest face? Would you say Alina and Alp are among the most solid couples in Turkish entertainment? Your opinions matter here, because this space grows with your voice. If stories like this, intimate, layered, and full of those small, revealing moments, speak to you, support Turkish Series Stars, subscribe, turn on notifications, and if you want to go further, join as a member by tapping the join button to back our work. Every comment, every like, every new subscriber is part of the heartbeat that keeps this community going. The love story of Alina Boz and Alp Navruz, as told through this confession, is a reminder that real affection doesn't need staged scandals or glossy theatrics. Sometimes it's born in the hush that follows a long day, in the shared grin over a burnt dessert that becomes a running joke, in the way two people try to rescue a crooked painting at dusk and end up painting over it together. For some, this confession was proof, for others, inspiration. For us at Turkish Series Stars, it was a quiet example of how, even in a world that often prefers shiny masks, there are still people who choose to speak straight from the heart. And let's not forget those tiny details that made fans melt, the way Alina hums absent-mindedly while making tea, and how Alp says he can find her in a room by that sound alone, the notebook in which they scribbled dinner ideas and silly sketches, the evening walks where they counted stray cats and gave them names. The mornings when one would wake the other with a badly drawn sun on a sticky note. Those moments, he suggested, stitched their days together. They were not grand gestures for cameras, they were the ordinary magic that quietly builds a forever. Industry insiders pointed out something else. In speaking plainly, Alp inadvertently set a new bar for public couples, an example of how transparency can exist without spectacle. He didn't turn his love into a press tour. He offered a glimpse, then retreated back into the life he's chosen. That contrast, show, then shelter, only deepened the audience's respect. It doesn't hurt that Alina's own public image has always been a mix of elegance and grounded warmth, making the match feel less like a fantasy and more like an alignment of calm spirits. Together, they project the kind of steadiness that doesn't require proof. One scene recounting their lockdown became a favorite. A night when the power flickered, candles turned the living room into a soft cave, and they decided to cook with whatever they had left in the pantry. The dish was chaotic and barely edible, but the laughter that followed tasted better than any recipe. Another story had them painting in mismatched shirts, streaks of color on their arms, music spinning them into a happy blur. These are the vignettes fans clung to, because they felt real, close enough to touch. Alp's reflection on aging resonated far beyond the usual fandom circles. He talked about faces changing, careers evolving, and the way attention shifts with the seasons. And then he said that what he wants to hold on to is the mood at home, the peace when they share a couch without words, the impulsive dances in the kitchen, the comfort of knowing that even on a difficult day, the door closes and there's a safe place waiting. That sentiment became the center of countless posts. That real beauty is not a snapshot, it's the soft cadence that runs through two people who choose each other again and again. After the confession, people began to revisit their interviews and public appearances, reading between lines they hadn't noticed. Clips resurfaced where Alina glanced at him in a way that now seemed full of secret jokes, moments where he reached for her hand without thinking. Fans created threads that mapped their timeline with forensic care. Yet, interestingly, the couple's calm response to all this attention only added to their charm. No defensive statements, no endless clarifications, just a steady continuation of their life together. As the buzz kept growing, some asked if this level of honesty could become the new standard. Maybe yes, maybe no. Not everyone can carry an intimate truth into the public arena without losing parts of it. But Alp's choice suggested something hopeful. That sincerity can be shared carefully, like passing a cup of tea across a table without spilling. And that is what audiences seem to crave, a reminder that behind the curated images, there are lives being lived, meals being cooked, silly mistakes turning into favorite memories. Here at Turkish Series Stars, we want to hear from you. Did his words change how you see them? Do you think that living under pressure, side by side, is what tests and proves love? Are Alina and Alp your pick for the most enduring pair in the scene right now? Tell us below. Your thoughts spark the conversations that make this channel feel like a living room, not just a screen. If you're into these heart-forward narratives, the kind that capture both the headline and the heartbeat, support Turkish Series Stars, subscribe, hit that bell, and if you're able, join our members to keep this storytelling alive. In the end, this story will be remembered not for a viral line, but for the calm center it revealed. Two artists, tucked away from the roar, choosing rituals that no one else needed to witness. Two people who decided that the life they build together is the true premiere. And if you want more tales like this, quietly seismic, deeply human, you know where to find us. Stay close, share your voice, and keep watching Turkish Series Stars. Thank you so much for watching my video. See you in the next one. Take care and goodbye.